You believe in the devil?
You want the short answer or the long one?
You run around this city like it's your damn shooting gallery.
Yeah, what do? You act like it's a playground. You beat up the bullies with your fists, you throw them in jail, everybody calls you a hero, right?
Only I do the one thing that you can't. You hit them and they get back up. I hit them and they stay down.
Come on, kill me now! You don't get to destroy who I am!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Comics Hollow Mode, the podcast where we talk about literally anything and everything geek culture and nerddom. I'm Russ, and as always, Landon is here.
What's up, guys?
We weren't on last week. We both had crazy busy weeks, and we also just felt like with the finale coming out this week, we just felt like it might be better to kind of talk about both of the shows and then kind of retrospectively the show in general.
Yep.
And honestly,
I feel like that was a good call.
Yeah, I feel like that was a good call because as much as I liked last episode,
same.
it's still it was, it's still there was something off. It didn't hit as much, and I feel like in the same way that you had to drop episode 1 and 2 together, I feel like you really kind of have to talk about 8 and 9 together as well.
They pair very well together. I mean, the end of 8 seamlessly goes into episode 9, the finale. I was just talking to Russ before we got on, and I was like, my mind is just so full of like what happened in the finale. I can't even recall anything that happened in episode 8. A few things did come back to me though. Specifically, all the Bullseye stuff I really loved. That's kind of what stood out to me the most in that episode. But then you have this really cool ballroom sequence where all of our characters kind of get together and they revelations come out about what happened with Foggy and Bullseye's involvement, and Vanessa is behind a lot of the woes in Matt's life, right? So that was pretty cool. Matt goes to prison and confronts Poindexter, which was cool. And Poindexter kind of uses that to escape prison. Other than that, I struggled to remember. I think maybe Daniel Blake gets or Charlie Blake. What is that character's name? Fisk's aide, the kid played by Gandolfini. What's that kid's name?
Oh yeah, I never remember.
It's Daniel Blake. Michael Gandolfini's character gets like promoted to second in command of New York City behind Fisk. Did that happen last episode? Like that was kind of something strange.
It did.
Everything else kind of just fell by the wayside. The Bullseye stuff, the ball stuff. Swordsman makes another appearance. I like that. But yeah, this is firmly going to be talking about both of those episodes. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, 8 was fine. It was good. I liked the ballroom sequence. I also liked when him realizing that it was Vanessa who called the hit on Foggy. Yeah. I liked kind of the unhinged nature at which he it was coming, like he was coming off.
Yeah.
I think that was great. Why is this post not working correctly? Whatever.
I really like Isla Zur back as Vanessa Fisk. I'm glad they kind of did something with her. And in the end, Fisk's plan for Red Hook and taking charge of the city, it is a money laundering scheme, which kind of, I don't know, that kind of fell flat for me. Like all of their machinations in the mayor's seat and everything was just to launder millions of dollars through the port, I guess, is what that led up to.
Yeah.
But I like that it's firmly Wilson and Vanessa Fisk as kind of the big bads. They both have kind of taken the mantle of Kingpin, Queenpin, whatever, of New York. And they have the mayor position firmly in place now. Wilson's making big moves with his task force. It's just like the revelation that it all was like a money laundering scheme was kind of like weak, I thought. But honestly, in hindsight, I feel like a lot of the Fisk storyline is kind of the weakest part of the show for me, of Born Again. But we can get into all that. Russ, what did you think of the finale?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought it was great too.
Um, let's
Punisher,
see.
Karen.
Let's see. Let's see
I
all
thought
of
of
it.
you. I was like, oh, Karen's back. Russ will love that.
Well, no, but that's the thing. To be fair, that is the thing. All of the side characters in this show sucked so much that I was dying for Karen to come back.
It's genuinely good to
I
see
was
Karen.
dying for Karen to come back. Like, and again, like I never had a problem with Karen's character per se. I always struggled with. She always just kind of came off very whiny in a lot of stuff. I like her relationship with Castle. I've always liked her relationship with Castle.
It's very
even though
interesting.
even though we've only really seen it in Daredevil season 2 and then the Punisher, the first season of the Punisher. And then now this, I thought that was really good.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
it's
all
an
of the
interesting
scenes.
relationship.
I love all the scenes with her and Matt. I think her calling Castle is a really cool little thing. We finally got the apartment shootout,
Yeah, that was
which
cool.
is
That was a great sequence.
brutal.
That might be my
Also,
favorite part of the
that's
show.
also the best. That's also the best action scene we've had in this show.
It's the best we've gotten. I like
It's the
it a
best
little
one.
bit more. I like it a little bit more than the bullseye fight in episode 1 as well, because the bullseye fight was the one take. I love the cuts
Yeah,
and I love the choices that they make with the filming of this sequence in Matt's apartment. Right, you got Punisher and Daredevil teaming up. That is just the coolest thing you could
Yeah.
ask for in something like this. It hit. It was really well done, really well executed, and it ends like in a fantastic way. Right, you have I think a grenade was set off or something, but Frank and Matt just are on this level of partnership, right? Frank just jumps off the balcony. Daredevil catches him. He uses that billy club, and they're fine. They make it
Yep.
down on the ground. Like just that trust between these two vigilantes just being on display. Awesome, fantastic. Probably a highlight of the episode was just them getting out of that situation. Frank's like, "All right, I'm jumping off. Red, you're gonna catch me, or it's lights out, or that's it." So a fantastic sequence. Yeah, probably my favorite part of the Born Again series, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I
And
think it was
Cole
fantastic.
North pisses me off because it's like they gave him
It's
absolutely no depth.
Well, it's also
Writing
a complete
him.
it's also a complete bastardization of the actual character in the comics, because he's in the comics in Chip Zdarsky's run. He's the guy who's trying to hold Daredevil accountable. Like
Yeah.
that's when Daredevil comes back and kills the guy, so he then sends himself to prison. All of that.
Yeah. Here he just pisses me off. He's just like fully into being a Punisher wannabe and
Yeah,
like a
he has
brutal
no.
cop.
Yeah.
They could easily turn this around and write this to where he does have some sort of redemption arc like in the comics, but just for now, like there was no hint of anything deeper with this character. He's just there to cause chaos and have somebody for them to fight, which is kind of like a disservice, I think. But this show has proven that it doesn't really want to dive too deep with some of the characters. Characters like Heather Glenn and Muse and Cole North and even Vanessa to an extent. Like she doesn't really change. She's the same pretty much. The only thing that changes about her is that, she's now back to 100% with Fisk. But like we get characters that go through like a ton of depth, like Wilson and Matt, like obviously, but then some of these characters just get absolutely nothing to do. And I would hope that would be improved upon in season 2 with some of the writing and some of the choices with those characters. Because Cole North has like a very interesting story. Like his journey in the Zdarsky run is very interesting. From hunting Daredevil to partnering with him to becoming part of his Fist, the Fist, right? The anti-hand organization that Matt and Elektra form. Cole North is there through all of that. Like that's pretty cool. But with Matt forming an army at the end of this season, I have to believe that we're going to be borrowing from a lot of the Zdarsky run from I think 2022 with
Yeah, I think so.
Fist organization. Maybe they call themselves the Fist. I don't know.
I think so.
But,
Um, I think we're gonna get a lot of. Oh shoot! Wow. Okay. Thanks, Jack. Shout out to my boss. I sent him a link to this, and he just reposted it.
Was he here?
On his X?
I don't have YouTube up.
That's crazy. No, on X.
Colorado. Shout out to Russ.
Shout out to Poso, and also Chuck Dixon, who is he is the creator of Punisher. Yeah, dude, I think they did a lot of really good stuff this episode. The overall show really pisses me off because it just feels so odd. It just feels so all over the place.
It does. And there's a reason for it. We know why.
And we know why, because it feels like it got Frankenstein, which that's exactly what it did. It got Frankenstein. And that's why I texted you is like, I feel like this show would have been better if it was episodes 1, 2, 3, 8, and 9. Because we would have gotten
run me through your thinking, because I can barely remember what happened in episode 8, and now I can barely remember what happened in all the episodes in order. So walk me through your episode recap.
Yeah, so we get episode 1,
your
which
ideal
is
Born Again season, right?
Yeah, so we get episode 1, which is the fight with Bullseye, Foggy's death, setting up what he's doing, like setting up the whole show. Then you get episodes 2 and 3, which are the trials of Hector Aizawa as White Tiger, setting up Fisk as mayor, setting up a lot of this stuff. Also, and if I remember correctly, also teasing at one point Muse.
He's been there like a little bit,
but without like showing him.
Yeah.
And then you go to 8, which goes back to Bullseye, and also you also have the Frank Castle scene, and then you go to 8 and 9, which are now. That being said, that's because ultimately the Muse stuff shouldn't be in the show at this point. Like really, like he does nothing.
Agree.
He was in 3 episodes. They could have teased him at the end of this season. They really could have teased him at the end of this finale with the blackout, and it would have set up a serial killer coming out of kind of out of the woodwork so much easier. And holy crap. So that's really good. Nothing. We just Jack reposted, and so now we got. Hey guys.
Awesome. We have people watching.
Yeah. Let us know what you guys think.
Like you were saying about the Muse stuff, I genuinely think that as much as I liked the Muse stuff, I feel like it would have been better if that had been teased throughout all of season 1, but not resolved and not even really explored. Like, again, we needed a scene with Muse and the psychiatrist. Just build up this really challenged kid. And then in season 2, once the blackout happens, I think that's your linchpin for all of these crazies and all of these vigilantes and maybe superpowered individuals, right? Coming out of the woodwork and just taking advantage of the situation. And then season 2, you have Muse actually being a killer and actually being a problem. Because then, Fisk's anti-vigilante task force is now in full swing, right? He's got I think it's called the Safe Street Initiative. That is in full effect.
That's his martial law.
Martial law, right? Exactly. So with that being in place, dealing with Muse becomes like 10 times more effective because he's just in power. He's got full control. He's not having to go through any bureaucracy, right?
Well, on top of that, here's the other thing, and here's what I would say. I don't think Muse could have been the big bad for season 2. And essentially what you could do is you have Daredevil and you have other heroes fighting Wilson Fisk's anti-vigilante task force and everything. Meanwhile, Fisk is trying to show that he has control of everything. Like the city is fine, but Muse is causing all this havoc because he's still doing all of his serial killer stuff under the nose of Fisk. Like Fisk can't get him. And then you have Daredevil not only fighting Fisk, but also trying to stop Muse while also trying not to get captured by the anti-vigilante task force. And so you
but
have
also
this
being,
whole,
but also, yeah, but also
have
being
this whole
effective
spiral.
in being like
Exactly.
Matt is effective, whereas
Exactly.
Fisk,
Yes.
anti-vigilante stuff and his policies are not effective, right? That's a good, you know, a little bit of conflict there, right? Matt's vigilantism is actually effective, whereas Fisk's policies and like hope for a brighter New York or a safer New York or whatever he's selling, right, is ineffective.
And like, and that's the other thing too, is like
That would be cool.
this episode, I can see, it's funny because I can see a lot more of the Trump allegory with Fisk in episode 1 and this episode. I think the newer writing definitely played with that. I think the older writing tried to stay as far away from that as possible, but I can see that like the newer writing and the newer way of like on the reshoots, I can see how they played with that. I don't think it.
Maybe.
I don't ultimately think it was in a way to like show, say, oh, Trump bad man. I don't ultimately think that was what they were trying to get across. I just think they played with that allegory a little bit stronger with the rewrites and the reshoots than they did with the original show. I will say one of the best parts about this show is Frank Castle.
Oh,
Punisher is one of
thing
the
is,
best parts
too,
of this show.
We didn't even get that much Castle. We didn't even get that much Punisher.
No,
right?
but we
He's
got
only in
literally
this episode
just
and
enough.
that scene.
The first one. Like
And he steals the show.
literally in the exactly.
He literally steals the show when he's there. It's crazy.
The
Such
scene
a
with
presence.
the scene with him in Matt's apartment is fantastic. Watching them kind of bicker. Here's the thing, and I've said this. I made a TikTok about how it's been pissing me off that Daredevil's identity is known by literally everyone and their mother at this point. But to that point, though, I love the fact that Punisher knows his identity. I think it is one of the best aspects of this show because they are two sides of very different coins, but also, weirdly enough, like Daredevil still has like a piece of that where he wants to fall into like what Punisher does. And it's very obvious with that fight scene in his apartment because he doesn't stop Punisher on a lot of it.
Dude, Punisher gets away with some stuff, like
gets
just
away with some
in front of Matt. He's like, "Wait,
murder.
don't do that." And he's like,
and all Matt does is, "Please, no, don't," but doesn't like do anything else. He's just like, "Nah, you can shoot."
Honestly,
like,
should have capped Cole North. Like, what is he even doing?
Should have capped Cole North.
100%. He's not offering anything. It's not the same character. Just cap.
But again, like that's another really epic
later.
scene. Is like you get to that end, and Punisher's just whispering in Daredevil's ear, just like that, like the devil on your shoulder. Hey, finish him. Like he killed the guy who was acquitted of his wrongdoing.
Yeah.
And you got him off. The system worked, and then this dude is the one who killed him. And Matt has that struggle, and it's cool because you get a very small scene that again focuses in on that dichotomy between Punisher and Daredevil, while also like still having that richness of like them not saying a lot, but you hear all of the subtext. Like you hear all of it. And
there's like so my fiance and I have recently gone through the first 2 seasons of Daredevil. We're midway through season 3. And all of the Punisher stuff in season 2, it's clear that Matt and Frank disagree on a lot of things, right?
Oh, 100%.
And cut to Born Again, and they almost have this kind of mutual respect of each other, right? I kind of see it as like this Venn diagram, right? You have Daredevil, you have Frank Castle, Punisher, and they overlap a little bit. There's like sparse areas where they overlap, but it's in that overlapping of their goals, right? They want to stop crime. They want to stop criminals. They want to, save future Castle families from being gunned down in the street, right? They just have very different ways of going about it. And it's almost like Frank does respect Daredevil in a way. He just doesn't think he's going far enough. And in season two and Born Again, like that's on full display, like their disagreement. But in season 2 of Daredevil, Netflix Daredevil, it's more like a rivalry, and here it's more like you're just not effective. Like I get what you're doing, and I respect you. We want the same things. We're just going to go about it in very different ways, right? And so that evolution of their relationship is really interesting, and it's capped off beautifully with just that trust fall, like I was talking about earlier. Just trust each other, but Frank is going to shoot people in the head in front of him, right? He's not above doing that.
100%.
It's kind of like a little jab at Daredevil, like I'm just going to kill some of these criminals, but also I'll let you do what you want to do. You know, you're in control, whatever. It's your
Punisher.
Right?
Yeah, Punisher is to Daredevil as Jason Todd is to Batman.
Yeah, no, that's a great analogy.
Like absolutely, like
very similar characters.
They are like, and this is something that I even posted today. Daredevil is Marvel's Batman. As much as people want to say that Moon Knight is, that's not really the case. Daredevil is very much in so many ways. Daredevil is Marvel's Batman, because of the code that he has. Yeah, Punisher in this is fantastic. I love, like, again, like the scene of them jumping off of his balcony is a really cool scene because it gives that little comic booky flair, because you see Daredevil throw throw his baton.
I'll tell you what, the Billy Club adds so much.
The Billy Club adds so much to this show.
Everything. It just
so
adds
much.
tons.
Watching him use it to like throw and bounce off like two opposite cops and then pull it back to him was really dope.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things
that thing is awesome.
One of the biggest things I was really worried about was how they were going to
the cops, the Punisher cops.
How they were going to show Punisher and the Punisher cops.
What does he think about all this stuff? Yeah.
And I think they did it in a really, really, I was very surprised because I feel like they did it in a very nuanced way. What they did was they focused on Frank's mental state. Like they focused on Frank essentially saying, hey, I am not you. You want to be me? Okay, fine. Lose your entire family and go crazy.
You don't want to be me, bro. Trust me.
Go crazy over the fact that my entire family got shot in front of me. So, and that's where I think they did a really good job of like, he was like, you guys are clowns for wanting to be me because you aren't me. And this is something that like, I'm seeing all over Twitter today because literally everybody is taking the "you are all clowns" screenshot and using it. And here's the thing. Yeah, and it's all liberals doing it because they're all going, conservatives when Punisher essentially, negates all of these cops and all of these people co-opting his symbol. And it's not that. That's not the point is not that. Like, Punisher is someone who completely gave up on the system. When liberals try to use Punisher against conservatives, it's all because ultimately what they're doing is they're saying, he doesn't like cops, so F the police. It's all BLM. It's all, it's all coded in this anarchy thought process. When they go and they, they go out in 2020, when they go out and riot and they burn and they're all like, oh, Punisher hates the police, so Punisher's gonna be right alongside us. No, you don't want Punisher there. If you ultimately know the character.
Yeah, I mean, just digging into Frank Castle's code, it's a very specific code. He goes after a very specific group of people, and that's not any.
He doesn't like anarchists.
It's just criminals.
He doesn't like corruption. He doesn't like criminals. Yeah,
criminals of any sort, right? Yeah. I don't know too much about comic Punisher. There might be levels to it. Like he's not just going to cap somebody who robs a store or something. But if you rape, kill, maim, injure, like if you're doing any of that stuff, if you're like a gangbanger, if you're a serial killer, like he's going to put an end to that. Period. Full stop.
Yeah.
Right. in season 2, he's like, I need him gone. It's got to be permanent, right? He's using words that have like a finality to them, and his brand of justice is to kill these individuals, to get them gone. Right?
It is.
And
It
the
is.
thing about
It is a dead murderer, a dead pedophile, a dead whatever
pedos,
doesn't
go after
reoffend.
children.
They don't
It's all
reoffend.
based around-
That's the issue. That's why
Right.
that's why Punisher does what he does,
But
because
that
he
is
doesn't like
not-
the revolving door.
Yeah.
He has completely given up on the system.
Mhm.
Daredevil, on the other hand, has not given up on the system. A lot of that has to do with the fact that he is a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's a lawyer. And
Right.
good. That's the best part. That's the best part about
Which is
Daredevil
why
is
these
that
two characters paired together
Exactly.
are so interesting, right? And the
Exactly.
thing about Frank
Exactly.
Castle is he knows he's fully aware of what he's doing, right?
Yep.
Season 2 of Punisher, which I'm also watching here and there, he has
Oh,
a moment
so
where
good.
he sits down and he's like convincing himself. He goes to visit Maria, like his dead wife's grave. He has a conversation with her, right? And he is fully back into the Punisher persona. He's fully back into his mission. Like he's convinced himself like he needs to go back to doing this because at the end of Punisher season 1, he's kind of fulfilled his vendetta against the people that like gunned down his family. Now he is switching to, it's not just those people that have to pay. It is like all criminals. It is the people that are going after this girl. It's the people that are involved in this massive conspiracy, this government corruption. Like all these people need to go. And there's a point midway through Punisher season 2 where he convinces himself, this is my mission. This is who I am.
Yep.
But there's also a side to Frank where he realizes like, if there's just a bunch of him running around shooting people,
Yes.
that is massively problematic, right?
Mhm.
Because Frank knows who he's going after, but you alter the story just a little bit to somebody else, they have a slightly different code. You're just going to have people just everywhere shooting each other, right?
Yeah,
so Frank
absolutely.
is a one of one, man. There cannot
Yep.
be multiple Punishers running around, right? You need cops who are good cops who respect the badge, who obey and follow the rules, who adhere more to Matt Murdock's sense of justice, because we need order. We need law and order. And that is, Frank is not law and order. He's anarchy, but in a very individualistic sense, right? He's going after criminals. But you see like these Punisher cops, right? They're altering the narrative, right? This is not something that Frank Castle does, right? You see these Punisher cops
He
shooting.
calls them wannabes because that's exactly what they are. Like, and this is the
but the Punisher cops specifically setting people up to make them look like criminals, right? These people who are just taking advantage of the situation, having a little bit of fun or whatever, right? They make it seem like I shot a vigilante, right? They're altering the narrative as they go. Like that's crazy. That's not what Frank stands for.
Well, and that's the thing. Here's the biggest thing is, and the biggest reason that he's against it is that these cops have given up on rule of law. What they have focused in on, and the reason they are Punisher fans is because they have naively are only focused on the fact that Punisher is allowed to bring the brutality aspect of it. You know, they're tired of having to, you know, stick to a set of rules. The reason rules are in place are to keep society, you know, moving and grooving, like
functioning and
you know, you have
right?
you absolutely like in, you know, in the cell you have Frank is a free radical. Frank is like a wild card. And yes, you know, he does good work and absolutely, but like you can't have all of them, dude. But that sequence of him going into the cops is fantastic. Is brutal.
I love
like him. Go ahead.
Sorry, what were you saying? Oh, when he's calling them clowns and everything, and he's
when he goes in before he gets
that was
captured,
really
like that whole action sequence is
A
brutal.
little bit of stealth Punisher.
A little bit of stealth, and like I love that scene because if you saw when he like slits the dude's throat, the blood like splashes onto the light, and that's why the light goes red, which is such a they do a really good job in this episode of showing like the transformation in colors and
This
like
is
all
that new
of that.
crew, man. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that.
They're great.
The other side,
I'm
the
excited
other
for
thing I want
season
to
2 for that.
mention, very much so. The other thing I want to mention about Punisher, right, is what makes the relationship between Matt and Punisher so interesting is that Daredevil believes in redemption. He believes in
Yes.
forgiveness. He believes in
Yes.
giving people a second chance. If you're being confronted by the Punisher, it's because Frank believes that there is no redemption
Yes.
for you. There is no second chance for you, right?
Yeah.
This is brought to light really, really well in season 2 of Daredevil when right, the rooftop scene.
Yep.
And something I forgot about the rooftop scene, but when I
it's
watched
so
it
good.
recently was you have the conversation between Matt and Frank, but to prove his point, Frank brings out the criminal that Matt is trying to defend, right? This kitchen Irish mobster named Grotto.
Yep.
And you've seen
such a good scene.
you've seen decent sides of Grotto. He literally just wants to get out of New York. It's revealed later on that he's done some bad stuff in his life,
100%.
right? No if, ands,
He's
or
a
buts.
he's a mobster, of course.
He's a mobster. He's killed people. He killed a man. He killed an old lady because she saw him doing this crime, right?
Yep.
Frank sees that. You're done. You sealed your fate. You've killed innocents. You're done. I'm taking you out. But it really makes you think, right? It's like Grotto wants to change. He wants to get out of this life. He wants to do better. He deeply regrets killing the old lady, right? So it really makes the audience think, right? Especially like for Christians, right? We believe that people, all sin is horrible sin, but it's equal in the eyes of God, right? Everybody is in need of the salvation of Christ. And where Matt's Catholicism comes into play is Matt believes in that. He believes that people can be redeemed and forgiven, right?
Yep.
Frank does not have any of that. So when you get these two clashing ideologies,
yeah, Frank gave up on his faith.
Very
Like he gave up on his faith because of his
gave up
family.
on it. Yeah, he's just experienced the worst that humanity has to offer, right? Joker, the one bad day, it can change you. And Frank is broken. He's so broken.
The dichotomy between Daredevil and Punisher is grace versus nihilism. Like that, ultimately, that's what it is. Is like
a lot of that.
No matter the fact that Daredevil goes through bouts where he is struggling with his faith or loses his faith, like and also this show did a pretty good job. This show did a pretty good job of explaining why we didn't see a lot of the church in this show the way we did in Netflix, and the way they explain it is that because he lost Foggy, he's lost his like center. He's kind of out swimming, and now you saw that as we got into the later episodes. You see him pull out Foggy's obituary, and you hear him praying. You see him in this episode talk about when he was a little kid, about the fact that they used to tell me that God took my eyesight for a reason, and he struggled with that.
It was super jarring to see a young Matt Murdock who wasn't.
Yeah,
in the Netflix show.
I
felt
that's
like
fair.
They had the same kid. They used the same kid even as Matt got older. I thought that was really interesting because he shows up in all the seasons, but season 3, the kid actor is a little bit older, but they still used him. Like I respect that. It was just weird to see young Matt look super different, but you made up a great point about Foggy, right? It's like Foggy represents the best of Matt. He represents that side of Matt Murdock who believes in law, believes in order, believes in the justice system. And Frank represents the side of Matt that resorts to violence to take care of these things that the justice system cannot, right? The things that slip between the cracks that need a firmer hand, a more lasting, perhaps permanent hand in dealing with that, right? He talks about great scene when Foggy discovers his identity, right? And Matt's talking about a father and a daughter who terrible stuff is happening there. And if Matt can hear this, right? He can hear the abuse going on in that house, right? And Matt is the only one who can take care of that, right? You cannot prove in a court of law that this father is abusing this daughter. But Matt absolutely can hear this, and he can take care of that. He has the means, he has the will, he can take care of that. That is why he is so 100% all in with his vigilante side. Born Again kind of does away with that because he hangs up the suit.
I mean, season 3 kind of did away with that too. Like,
Season 3, he is fully Daredevil.
For sure.
He's
But he's not
Murdoch.
focused on, he's focused more on his retribution mission rather than his like actually just being a hero. Like that's very much where he's focused.
He's borderline teetering on becoming a Punisher type himself. He wants to kill Kingpin, right? He's struggling with, do I kill this man?
And that's ultimately to that point
on the personal side of his life, and he's fully committed to the mission.
And even to that, yeah, you're right. And to that point, that's where the scene of him taking the bullet for Kingpin really is really cool. Like let's
get into that.
It's very instinctual. And like we kind of talked about it because I know you kind of had a very, like, you didn't entirely like it, if I remember correctly from our text messages, him taking the bullet for Kingpin.
Maybe I just didn't know how it would shake out. But
and the way I saw it is that you have that ballroom scene in the last episode where they're like he's putting all of the pieces together, right? And so then he bumps into Vanessa and starts talking to Vanessa, telling her, "Hey, I know it was you." And that's ultimately where I think it's like, hey, the reason he instinctually goes after the person who's innocent, because in that moment, Kingpin's innocent. Like in that moment, he knows why Poindexter is there. And so he's like, well, Kingpin is innocent, so I'm going to put myself in harm's way. And then it's great this episode because then we get Punisher being like, hey, why the hell did you take a bullet for this guy?
And that's where like Frank's one-dimensionality shines. It's like he doesn't believe that
he's
Kingpin,
black and white. And white. There's no gray.
Yeah, no. Frank Castle is all, there's no white. There's just black. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there is. You see that in season 2 with Amy, I think her name is, the kid. I love their dynamic. But when it comes to Matt taking the bullet for Fisk, it's a really interesting parallel to the beginning of the season, right? When he pushes Poindexter off of the roof.
Yeah.
That represents a Matt who is fully broken, who has given up on the sense of vigilante justice.
And he tells Karen that he wanted to kill him. Like he was hoping. He was hoping.
That is clear through Charlie Cox's performance in that moment. It's, I'm done. I'm done with this. Yeah. I want Dex to die, and I'm going to make sure that happens, right? Dex survived. That's besides the point. Daredevil taking that, crossing over the line, right, as Frank would say, and letting Dex fall to his death. But then in the finale of the season, taking a bullet, right, for his worst enemy, a man who is perhaps innocent of the crimes committed against Foggy Nelson and therefore against Matt himself, the personal vendetta that he has against Fisk. Fisk may have been innocent of that, but he is not an innocent man. There is so much blood on Fisk's hands. It's insane. His suit should be red and not white. But in that moment, right, he is, it's Vanessa who is firmly to blame for the death of Foggy, right? He realizes that. But even, that goes back to the conversation that he had with Bullseye in the prison, which is Bullseye saying something to the effect of like taking or defending your worst enemy or something, right? And although Matt is beside himself with grief and pain over the loss of Foggy, this represents Matt coming back to his level ideals, right? The sense of law and order, the sense of, when Frank offs these people, there's a sense of finality to it. They're not going to be repeat offenders, but there's almost like that's the easy way out. Just ending these people's lives. It's done. It's over. It's difficult, right? But the sense of justice that Matt goes after is you're going to be in prison the rest of your life. You're going to be rotting away, thinking about what you've done, because it's not up to him to take the life. It's not up to him. That is something reserved only for God, right? To judge. that's kind of what Matt believes. But the saving Fisk and jumping in front of that bullet represents Matt coming back to those ideals and reestablishing what makes Daredevil and not Frank Castle, right? So I think that's cool that in the beginning you have just the downfall of a hero. Episode 8, you have the return to form, right? This person with renewed vigor is committed to the ideals that made him in the first place. I think that's really cool. And because of that, I think it does make sense that Matt would save Kingpin from Dex's bullet.
Yeah, I agree. I think too, like,
it's all about where you fall on that line. Do you relate more to Frank Castle's version of justice, or do you relate more to Matt's Christian form of justice?
It's funny because I think both Daredevil and Punisher are two characters that in today's society we need more of. And here's what I mean. Here's what I mean to that. Not Punisher's brutality, not Punisher's, hey, I've completely given up on the system, this, that, and the other. Not that part of the Punisher, but this black and white morality that Punisher kind of lives at, right? He lives at this core of like, this is right, this is wrong, I want to do this, and yes, my methods are not right, but I'm on a quote-unquote righteous crusade to do this. On the other hand, Daredevil is also on a righteous crusade. The difference is his righteous crusade is also black and white, but he comes at it from more of a system of, okay, you screwed up, there's an opportunity for grace, but you still have to live with the consequences. And that's ultimately where, the system gets in his way a lot of times because, criminals tend to show good behavior and then get out. And so the system lets him down in a lot of ways because of that. And I think in today's society, when there's so much evil in the world, I mean, like, I don't know if you've ever looked at TikTok, but the amount of ads for like shirts that say dead pedophiles don't reoffend, like dead pedophiles are good pedophiles, like this finality, this very staunch, this is where I stand. We live in a society today where so many people are ignoring it, and so many people just go the far extreme, which when you look at it, Daredevil, I'm gonna move my mic closer so that way people can see what I'm about to say. Daredevil is the middle.
It's getting animated.
Daredevil is the middle, right? He lives in a world that's black and white. Yes, there's some gray, but that gray usually has consequences. There is right and wrong, or whatever. Right and wrong. I'm left-handed, everybody, so this is why when I say right, I always go with my left hand. I know most people are like right and wrong, whatever. So Daredevil is in this middle, and the pendulum swings. Society's pendulum will swing, and sometimes, and in a lot of ways, when people get off with a lot of bad, and for some reason, the system doesn't work, they get let free. I mean, there's so many, literally just look at the news today and there is a case where this is the fact. So when society keeps letting people off, that pendulum is swinging so far in the quote unquote in the wrong category. Like this is wrong and people are getting away with it. What happens when people have had enough? The pendulum in society swings to the far right. And that's where you have Punisher. That's where you have, okay, I'll just stop it. They're done. Like, they're not going to reoffend because they're dead. They're in the grave. They can't reoffend. And so that's where you also then have these cops where these cops, the Fisk cops specifically, are not those cops. But there's a lot of cops in society where they're like, I don't understand. I'm not doing any good. And they are, but we just live in a society where the pendulum is swinging. And so that's ultimately where you have to sometimes, to know that you're on the wrong side of things, you have to see the completely adverse of one thing to then see where the other wall is so that you can find your middle. And Punisher is the farthest wall of this is my righteous mission. I will. Yeah,
he's taking it to the extreme.
I will take it to the extreme. And Daredevil is sitting there going
dirty work that others might shy away from.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. So, and that was probably a rant, but whatever.
I see where you're coming from.
I think it's great. I love
for
Punisher is my favorite. Daredevil has quickly, just by reading the comics, has become my favorite hero.
He is incredible. It's really great. We're kind of in like this awesome Daredevil renaissance.
Yeah,
which definitely.
Well, Charlie Cox is amazing.
Yes, absolutely. There's tremendous talent behind these characters and their portrayals. It started with the Netflix show.
Yep.
Zdarsky's incredible Daredevil run had a lot to do with it as well. And now that Disney is finally utilizing Daredevil to the effect that they are, like, it's a huge resurgence for the character.
For sure.
It's really great. Daredevil, I feel, has been underrated for a long time.
Yeah.
I just started reading his books like 2 years ago, like when you got me back into comics, Russ. But when it comes to the final point I want to make with the Daredevil Punisher stuff is there's a lot of different interpretations you could take depending on like how you view life and what you believe in and everything. I just kind of came to a conclusion, right? It's like civilized society. You mentioned black and white, right? Sometimes there is black and white. There's enough evidence to say these are the facts. This is how it went down. This is what is deserved, right? Other times, like with Grotto, there's like gray area, right? And the reason that the reason that we even have a court of law is for a jury of your peers to decide, does this fall more in the black or does this fall more in the white, to interpret those gray areas. When you have people like Frank Castle running around and just ending it, there is no chance for redemption. There is no chance for deliberation. There's no chance to decide what kind of justice should be dispersed on this individual, right? Frank is acting as judge, jury, and executioner. Matt, Daredevil is simply bringing these people before the cops, before the courts, letting that process go. And in a perfect world, justice would be served. But because of all the corruption, and we even see this in Born Again, right? We see all this corruption. Because of that corruption, what Christians would believe in the sinful humanity, right? We are a broken people. We're a broken world. The fact that sin is out there is why justice is evaded sometimes, and why people resort to horrible things and do terrible things, right? But that's kind of the conclusion I get to, is like that gray area when you don't know exactly what the situation is. Like, that's kind of why a jury exists, I feel like, right?
For sure. Oh, for sure.
Disperse justice in that way.
For sure.
And there's also a sense of fairness to it, right? There's a lot of different ways you could go with that conversation, but
I absolutely
I am very happy with the way that Born Again portrayed Punisher.
Me too.
Him interacting with the cops, right, who were clearly defined as being like
like bad cops.
Bad cops, terrible people who don't deserve to wear this badge because they're
and like even the police commissioner, even says to Fisk when Fisk talks about like the people in his task force, he's like, oh, so just all of the bad apples.
Yeah, everybody
like all of the bad guys. So
that's a great segue into it.
And so ultimately, like, yeah, exactly. So like I was really worried, honestly, when set photos came out and it showed that they were going to be doing Punisher cops. I was very worried about how they were going to execute this in a way that that made sense.
It's a touchy subject.
It's a very touchy subject, and I think they did a great job. I think the fact that they focused on Castle's kind of mental state when he's talking to the cops about why they're all clowns. Makes so much sense. I think it works. Fisk, I loved the Fisk stuff in this season or this episode specifically.
Oh, I did too. He's clearly back on top.
He's clearly back on top, but
his own private gulag, like he's throwing
yes. So the revelation that the Red Rock port that he is trying to revitalize is a free port made me go into a complete comic tear. Like I dug in. So there's two ways that we can look at this because there's
honest, I don't know what the free port, like all that went over my head.
Well, so essentially it's a port. The idea of a free port is that the Red Rock port is not under the jurisdiction of New York City.
Okay,
it's also not under the jurisdiction essentially of the United States. So think Tortuga from Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's lawless. It doesn't
lawless. So free ports in a lot of free ports in a lot of countries are used by criminals to money launder, to store like stolen items, like on shipping cargo containers, that kind of thing. And
Vanessa's been using.
So Vanessa was using it exactly. Vanessa was using it for her art. The whole point of what Fisk wants to do is he wants to turn it into a complex. He wants to turn it into a living, like a part of the city. So he wants to have housing on it. He wants to have a mall on it. He wants to have all these things. So essentially,
operating as a free port,
but still operating as a free port. So essentially, you're turning what he's turning this into is Madripoor. Think of it that way from the comics. And that's also where I'm going, oh, this is going to be Shadowlands.
Could be.
Now, the only difference with the Shadowlands is that the Shadowlands were it was a compound created by the Hand that was not under the jurisdiction of New York City, mainly because the Hand pretty much just
controlled by the Hand. So what they're doing is Shadowland, but instead of the Hand, it's Fisk.
It's Fisk, which I still love that idea. I think that's a great idea.
Shadowland. I think I should.
Well, so Shadowland also, Daredevil goes crazy because he gets possessed by the demon of the Hand.
I know what's going on.
Which is also where the suit that we saw leaks for season 2. That's where that suit comes.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going. Like, yeah, this kind of all ties in a little bit.
Yeah, and so what I'm thinking is what I think they're gonna do is they're not gonna bring the Hand in, but what they're saying is that Fisks are gonna be running this city state because that's essentially what this is becoming. Is it's gonna become a city state, and it's just gonna be a lawless place that Fisk runs and does his work out of, and then has his cops are the ones operating that place, and that's where you're gonna have and once New York comes out from under that martial law, that's still gonna be, this place is gonna be completely, they can't touch it. Like, this is gonna be where Fisk goes to lick his wounds when he's ousted. This is gonna be something that sticks around for a while, and I'm actually really excited for what this means.
I like the direction you're thinking. For whatever reason, I didn't connect a lot of those dots, but with your explanation of like what the Freeport is, the Daredevil suit in season 2 that we've seen set leaks of, the fact that Fisk and now Matt both have their respective armies. I can see that definitely being the case for season 2, and also the fact that there is no laws and limited control in this area apart from Fisk's law. Vigilantes can operate without oversight. Like they can this Shadowland Red Hook area is going to be ground zero for the war between the Vigilantes and Fisk's task force and everything.
Yeah,
sounds
absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think that's going to be
operating.
I think that's going to be really interesting. Oh, yeah. Punisher's absolutely going to be operating in that. Like, that's going to be...
What do you think his special is going to be about? Like, he's you saw the mid-credits sequence?
Yeah.
Right.
So
Frank
I think
gets with
like
Gulag.
he's gonna get free. I have yet, and this is maybe something that I just forgot because I looked it up already. I don't.
He is
know.
free.
Is
Did you
his?
see the end credit scene?
Yeah, no, I did.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
so it's obvious
out.
that he's free.
Mhm.
I don't know if his special comes out before season 2 or after.
I have no idea.
So I don't know that part. I know he's co-writing it right now. Like they're working on it.
He's got a lot of
sway,
which is
yeah.
cool.
So that's
He
dope.
understands the
And
character.
after seeing his fight scenes in this show, like I'm excited for what that is going to be.
Good.
It's going to be really interesting to see him. I would love for a season 2 that he gets a costume change and he goes more tactical, more like Ray Stevenson from Punisher Warzone.
You want him to be
like I want him with the
rockets at
no, I just
parkour.
want him, dude. I just want him in like his combat shirt, but it's a little bit more skin tight. It's long sleeve. I want the sleeves down. I want him to add more of a collar to his shirt. Like, quit with this faux
gorilla
faux
warfare.
buzz. Like, go back to go with the slick back. That would look sick. Yeah, I just want him to go back. I just want him to go more traditional castle.
Or
I love
trench coat.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, put the trench coat back on. Like that's all. That's all you really need to do at this point.
Push up the skull maybe a little bit. Give him
no, do not touch the skull. The skull is literally perfect in this show. But yeah, so I really like a lot of what Kingpin is setting up in this episode. I think for the finale again, and this is ultimately what I became very aware of as we watched this show. Is this is a setup season. Like this is a setup season. Like they wanted to give you a couple pieces where you were really oh hell yeah, but this is a setup season, and it feels like it got it's Frankenstein, and that's just how it is.
That they took the bones of the previous version of this show and used it to kickstart where this new creative team wants to go. They salvaged the bones of this old project that got shelved and reworked, and they used it to create a jumping off point for the story that they actually want to tell, which it sounds like it's Shadowland mixed with some mixed with some Devil's Reign.
That's essentially what I'm seeing too. Is it's gonna be we're gonna have the Devil's Reign
lot of the
side
Devil's
of it
Reign flavor, but with more of the plot elements and the plot drivenness of Shadowland.
Exactly.
Which we better not see Bullseye die. I'm gonna be pissed. I cannot have that man die without getting a proper Bullseye suit. I don't
think he will.
By the way, I'm pissed, but
I don't think he will. I'm glad we didn't get that much of Bullseye. Again, here's the thing.
He's in the wind, but
exactly. The fact that he's in the wind is perfect. I like the fact that he's there. We're gonna get another. You got your big action scene with Daredevil or with Bullseye at the first episode. Now we go into dealing with the rest of this, and now in season 2 we're gonna be able to get Bullseye again, and he's building an army.
He's building an army.
So we're gonna get. We already have Jessica Jones is already confirmed that she's coming back. We already have.
Yes, right. I heard that. That's cool. That's been a thing for a while.
That's been a thing for a while. We don't have any other confirmations. Spider-Man. I'm sorry, everybody. Spider-Man cannot show up in this show.
He's not going to be in this, but
he's not allowed contractually.
I feel like his movie will explain why he's not involved in this, though. He's perhaps dealing with something else or something very personal.
That was confirmed. That was confirmed that was going to be
now that it's street level, street territory. I think it's really it's a missed opportunity. It's a missed opportunity to not have a couple of known Defender characters in that room in Josie's bar at the end, because I've seen a lot of chatter where it's like Matt's building an army, and then his army is just Karen and some good
and
cops.
Cherry.
And Cherry's there, like he wasn't even present at all.
Bro.
And that detective.
Here's the one thing that I'm hoping for.
It kind of was like a letdown. I was like, oh, maybe a little bit of Iron Fist, maybe a little bit of Luke Cage and Jessica, and even Colleen Wing, I think, has the Iron Fist at the end of that show.
Oh yeah, true.
I digress. Like Swordsman, well, he's in prison, but
yeah, he's in Fisk's personal prison.
Right.
Oh God, stop it!
There's
stop
some
it! Don't say her name.
White Tiger, like the girl.
Yeah,
maybe she adopts the mantle, and you see a quick brief.
His
look
daughter,
at her
his daughter as
that's like
White
a
Tiger.
gimme. Like,
That's probably that will probably happen.
That will happen.
I think.
I like Karen being back though.
Yeah, I'm very happy Karen's back.
She had some good conversation with Matt as well. And
here's the real question.
Netflix,
here's an interesting question. Do you think Matt's relationship with whatever her name is over? Noelle, whatever the hell.
Heather Glenn.
Heather. Wow.
Yeah.
I can never remember her name.
Not officially. I think it's headed in a bad direction. They're not going to last, especially because she's back with Kingpin. Right?
Yeah,
you have Heather Glenn signing on as the deputy something of New York's mental health services or whatnot.
Yeah.
So she's firmly, dude, that pissed me off so much when she said that Daredevil didn't save her. She saved herself. Get the hell out of here.
That was some, that was episode 8 had some. Well, that was the worst part is because.
Was that in episode 8?
Yeah. That was the worst. So that was also the worst part because we came on the episode that they had the fight with Muse, and you know, I'd seen all over Twitter, everybody was like, oh, it's a girl boss moment, and we both were like, no, it's not really a girl boss moment, because like anybody would have picked up the gun and shot the dude trying to kill her. But then episode 8 but then episode 8 comes out and she's like, Daredevil didn't save me, I saved me. And I'm like, done. I can't.
That's disgusting.
I was ready. I was fully ready to like be on your side, but nope. Yeah. That's wrong. False.
Ruined that character.
You ruined the moment.
God.
Yeah, that was bad.
Frustrating, but
yeah, I don't like her character. I just don't like her character.
I thought there was a chance. I was like, it's interesting. They just didn't. Again, Heather Glenn is one of those characters.
They're not writing these side characters at all well.
They alluded to it a little bit, I think, in season 8, where she was like talking to Matt about vigilantes and like, can I get an interview with Daredevil? And what about the Punisher? Like, she wants to talk to these people and explore their psyches. Great. I'm all for that. Let's explore. Let's sit down. They didn't. Maybe they will in season 2. I don't know. I don't really care at this point.
I don't really care what her character does at this point in season 2.
Maybe she'll die. Maybe Muse will come back and actually finish the job.
Yeah.
We'll
no, I like ultimately this show is
I like it. Yeah. Especially the last 2 episodes were phenomenal. The last thing about season 8 was that conversation with Bullseye and Matt in the prison. True. And seeing Bullseye use the tooth, kill the guards in the prison, escape. Beautiful. Loved it. Also the fact that Bullseye perceives things that he wants to kill, like he gets in this kill zone, like this state of mind, and it's represented by the blue flower and the blue tint.
The blue tint and the buzzing was like crazy. When the buzzing started, I thought something was wrong with my TV, and then it got louder, and I'm like, oh no, this is a callback to season 3, and I was like, I'm so in for this. I loved it. I thought it was great.
I am absolutely all for that. I love that they're kind of readopting the little tricks and motifs that accompanied these characters in some of the Netflix stuff, like the buzzing.
They're bringing the color. They're adopting the color again. Like,
and we get more
every time we saw Daredevil, there was a red there was a moment or a couple moments that there was red tint, that there was a
like
red,
when he got shot, like that
red
was all
hue.
framed with red.
Bullseye had blue. Daredevil, like even Punisher had a lot of black and white. Like there was a lot of like you could see like especially when he was like going into the cops like yeah, most of the time it was shadows and light, but the light was not like it wasn't yellow light, it was white light. And so it was very much that there was that contrast of like black and white with
black and white world
with Punisher, which I thought was really cool.
The other thing is that about that scene between Matt and Bullseye in prison is for one, it's exactly what Bullseye wants. He wants Matt to lash out, strike him.
Yes.
He used that, right? So that shows a little ingenuity on Dex's perspective. But also, he I forget what Bullseye says. I'm excited to go back through Born Again after completing season 3 with my fiance and watching Born Again and like relooking at it contextualized with the whole picture. But there's one of the best F-bombs dropped I've ever heard is Matt. He just says F you to Bullseye as he's leaving.
Yeah, true.
And I had subtitles turned on and Dex actually says like bye or something. He's like bye. It's hilarious. Hilarious. And like that's just Matt Murdock raw anger or lashing out. Like,
especially it's Bullseye. He killed his best friend. Like,
Bullseye is the worst, right? And that's just something where this more mature rating for Born Again is used effectively. Like, of course, somebody would lash out and say something like that to their worst enemy who is taunting them, right?
Yep.
But where that R rating really comes into play is Kingpin killing Commissioner Gallo. What did you think of that death? Because I have this is the last thing I really want to get into. I have some thoughts on that.
I figured it was gonna happen. Like that made sense, especially because he was always Kingpin's biggest doubter, and this entire season was Kingpin trying to just relegate him to the sidelines, and then finally just deciding to put him out of his misery.
I mean, he was always going to die. He needed to be gone. More so, I meant like the way it was done, I guess.
Oh, I mean, yeah. It felt reminiscent of the Netflix show, while also feeling a little bit more comic booky. That it worked to me.
I see what you're saying. I mean, yes. Kingpin has committed similar acts. I just think the fact that they showed all of it is, and I'm not even upset because I'm like squeamish. Oh, it was too graphic or whatever. I don't care that it's graphic. I care that there just was no artistry. There was no nuance about it, right? For example, when Kingpin takes the head of the Russian gang member with his car door, you get the sounds, you get some of the visuals, but like it doesn't show all of it, right? It leaves something to the imagination. I think you lose something when you just show all of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately,
and I think ultimately it looked a little bit cheap and fake as well. I'd have to go back and watch, but the impression I got from just viewing it first off was just, it just felt a little cheap and a little bit like we're edgy and we're gonna show all this, and there was no nuance in it, right? Like I was saying, but that's just my take on it.
Yeah, I think
is fine. It's just the way it was portrayed, I guess. I don't even know,
enough.
But
I think ultimately I took it as they wanted to show some raw power from Kingpin. Because again, this has been like they tried to, and ultimately this is what the reason I think this is. They tried to do it with Hawkeye. They just introduced him so poorly in that show that it didn't come across as like this is Kingpin. This is like, he may look fat, but this guy is a beast.
Did he do something like this in Hawkeye? Maybe I'm
just like his imposing presence, and then him going up against against Kate Bishop and just bodying an explosive arrow.
Presence.
Like they tried to show that power in a way that just didn't work for that show. And I think this was them going, okay, this is our second opportunity. And I think it worked in this case. Like I think because of the brutality of Kingpin, and I think because of the way the cops have been showed, I think it worked. But
I think, don't get me
I
wrong.
also agree, but I agree with you. I also think like the nuance works better when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Like they're comparing between, beheading a gang member with their car door and this. Like I'll take the Netflix thing overall.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. I love seeing Fisk powerful.
Yeah,
like
fair.
that is something I'm on board for. Like I've been clamoring for like Fisk to like take charge and really make a statement, right? This act, murdering Gallo with your own two hands in front of your cops, like your task force or whatever, that sends a message. That's a statement. Like I love all of that. It's literally just the shot of the head being crushed that I'm like, okay,
for sure,
like whatever. But
yeah, I think
I do respect that.
I was not surprised.
Like,
I was not surprised based off of the fights of Punisher after seeing the fight with Punisher and seeing the fight with Punisher and Daredevil, because both of those
it's brutal. The show is brutal.
Are brutal, and like they're really excessive with the blood spraying places. Like that was one thing that I did notice is like, damn, like are you guys hitting the carotid artery on every single kill?
Dude,
like
Matt getting pummeled.
Like Matt was pummeling people, and then you have
even with Muse was taking
but then you have Punisher grab the cop, stick his neck, and then as he pulls it, it just splatters blood everywhere. Like it looked like an entire quart of blood just came out of that man's body just in that pull. And I was
some of that comic booky. Like,
you guys are. It was a little over the top, but also I was like, all right, fine.
I'm fine with it. Even that I'm fine with, but like the head crush, even the Gallows stuff is just like even a ring above that. I feel like I don't even know what it is, but like I don't mind being graphic. It's just like it just felt cheap and it loses its effectiveness when you can just see all of it. I guess. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't have any more thoughts about the episode. I
love
the last two episodes. The show overall was fine, okay.
Yeah.
I think
it's like a 5 out of 10.
I think overall I'm satisfied with Born Again. I wouldn't say it.
I mean, honestly, it's still technically probably the best Marvel show that we've had so far on Disney Plus.
Higher tier Disney Plus content for sure.
Yeah. So ultimately, it was whatever. Like I think at the end of the day, I think it laid the foundation for this show to get really good. And ultimately, if that's especially with the fact that we're getting season 2 next year.
March.
We're getting season 3 next year. Like we are getting these year but like the year after that. So we're getting these supposedly every year, at least to season 4. Like they've already kind of confirmed that like we're gonna get this like once a year into season 4. The next Disney show, Marvel show that we're getting is Ironheart, so y'all can go back to sleep because that show is gonna be dog doo-doo.
I tell you what, the only thing that I actually watched the finale last night with a buddy of mine from a church ministry that I'm a part of. He came over, we watched the porch.
Nice.
We watched the episode together. Shout out to Blake. We were kind of discussing like what we would have liked out of the street level Marvel stuff. Yeah. And to its credit, the Ironheart show is doing something that I think is interesting. It's introducing a character called the Hood.
Yeah,
right?
for
Arthur
sure.
Robbins. I like that character. He was
I don't like that
crucial.
Actor,
I think the actor is probably. We'll see what they do with it, but not the direction that I would have taken with that character. I have a figure of the Hood right up on my shelves, right above me. For whatever reason, I'm fascinated by this character, right? Because he's like this gang leader. He just has like a little bit of mysticism to him that makes him a little bit something else. And I like just a little bit of that super powered, comic bookiness and street level stuff. I would have loved to see the Defenders reuniting and all these vigilantes coming back. I love the fact that they're going up against Fisk, but I would love to have them all go up against somebody like the Hood, right? Because his gang, his group of criminals, like the Syndicate or whatever they're called, they all have super powered abilities. They all have abilities. They're all superhumans. They're all enhanced in some way. And that's what I want to see. I want to see the street level intensity and atmosphere, but I want to see some of that comic booky super powered flair. And I think the Hood offers
I agree.
that.
I agree. That's why I think it's dumb that they're putting it with Ironheart. I think that's dumb as shit.
I think it's dumb, but I also see what they're going for. They're going against the magic and the tech versus magic. I'm not interested in that show, but I do think it's interesting that they're using this character.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let X show me the scenes from that show when it comes out that I actually should watch, and I'll maybe watch the season finale just to see how it ends.
Of Ironheart?
Yeah, I just won't watch the rest of the show.
I'll catch the show when it's just the show is concluded and it's just like the Hood.
When the ratings don't matter, when the ratings don't matter, so after the show's completely concluded, once like Disney stops like recording how many views it's getting, then you'll watch it so that it doesn't you don't like give your vote to this show,
because you don't want to hate watch, because hate watch adds to the number. Right?
Exactly.
So you wait until hype has died down, and then you like pirate it or something. Right?
Yeah, this is why I pirated Captain America 4.
Allegedly.
No, actually, no. I'd never even pirated it. I don't even
know what that is. Yeah,
I just waited for X to show me the 4 clips that I really
just wait
needed
it's all
to see.
On YouTube, it's fine for free.
Yeah, exactly. Although, don't get scammed. There's a lot of people saying, "Hey, I got the full movie of this on X," and it's like the opening credits, and then it's just a Rickroll for an hour and a half. Don't do that. I did it once.
When I was on Twitter, some of those were legit though. I watched like
fair.
I watched half of the Shrek movie just on Twitter.
I mean, TikTok. I've watched the entire I've watched a full half of a movie just on TikTok by going to like part 2, part 3, part 4.
Dude, it'll be in like the most random places too. It's like, here's just the B movie in this like highly top comment of this highly political comment section is just like top comments is the B movie, right? So you get stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
I think the next thing we get is Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts.
When is that?
May 5th? May 15th, maybe? Early May.
Okay, all right, so we're close. What is this?
We're close.
May 2nd.
Wow.
May 2nd.
That's in like 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks. We've talked about it. I think we're going to go see it probably opening weekend.
We've got to catch it together, I think.
I think we should. We got to. The last time you and I were in the theaters together, we went and saw Thor: Love and Thunder, and that was oof.
Abysmal.
Oof.
Rough.
So we need to and
dude, I tell you
that movie looks amazing. I don't know, have you seen any of the trailers for that movie? Like the newer ones?
I have YouTube pulled up right here and it says Marvel Studios Thunderbolts final trailer released 6 hours ago. Every single freaking week in the month of April, we have gotten a new Thunderbolts trailer. Yeah, I'm not going to watch this one.
Don't watch this one. I would try to go find like the one before this one and watch it.
I've seen like 3 trailers for Thunderbolts so far.
Okay,
I like what I see. I'm sold. I don't need to see anything else. They keep revealing little. I'll say this. It's strange that they keep revealing clips and images of Sentry / the Void, but they're all the same thing. It's just like this blacked out nothing character.
I mean, to be fair, if that's how the Void is going to be depicted, that's dope. That is dope. I think it is. I absolutely think. I think that's the point. No, because it's a silhouette, and then it's like his eyes are glowing like silver.
I think it'll be more effective in the theater. I think the eyes will like be enhanced or something. I think they are saving something.
ultimately my biggest
Final version of Century or something.
critique is why the hell are we doing a Century in a Thunderbolts movie where none of the characters that are to stop him have any superpowers?
I have no clue. And also
I am the biggest Winter Soldier stan. Like, I love Winter Soldier. Like,
he's getting ripped in half.
There is never an episode on this podcast, I think, that I haven't brought up Winter Soldier some way or somehow.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier is one of my favorite characters of all time.
Yeah.
It doesn't make no sense. Marvel, it don't make no sense
Dude,
to have Sentry in this movie with
Bucky up against Sentry.
Bucky,
Insane.
Yelena,
They're all super
Red
soldiers.
Guardian,
Ghost is the only one that's
U.S. agent who doesn't even have superpowers. Ghost, which, you know, the trailer showed her actually being useful once.
I saw that.
Which was to push Bucky out of the way of a flaming car.
If Ghost's entire purpose is just to prevent Bucky from taking damage, that's fine.
The only reason she's on the team is to just push people out of the way of cars.
She's the Red Rush of the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, she's just like
strictly defense.
She's just safety. That's it. That's all she's doing.
Sentry, Omni-Man, whatever.
Taskmaster, still, like, none of this makes sense. I'm down for it because everything about this movie looks actually decent.
Dude, it's got a color palette and a look to it and a grittiness to it that I'm sold on. The premise, just, there's got to be something we're missing that they're not showing us.
There has to
be, either like the White Vision from WandaVision is going to swoop in and like actually physically take on Sentry, or they're going to defeat him with the power of friendship, right? There's no either you're going to get somebody who can physically match Sentry, which at this point is literally like Thor, Captain Marvel, and like
it's going to be a scene.
They're going to talk him down, which is like why
it's going to be a scene. It's going to be a scene where Bucky is like, I could do this all day, son. He doesn't have his arm anymore. He's just like, he's on the brink of death. And freaking Red Guardians is going to come in. Come on, man. It's okay. We're together. We're family. And then Sentry's just going to hug him. And then that's it. That's going to be how it ends.
Dude, the irony about this whole thing is like the trailer have shown Alexei being thrown out of a window. Literally, none of the Thunderbolts characters are equipped to help him.
Yeah, none of them can fly.
They can't help you.
Like,
unless Sentry decides to like
it's so dumb.
Catch you after throwing you out of the window, he's dead.
I honestly, dude, I have never been more excited to be let down by a movie than I honestly have been for this because be impressed. Like this movie may be
is in here or something. I don't know.
This movie may be so dumb that all I can do is laugh.
Maybe. I don't know.
Like, it may be a return to, like, Marvel where, yeah, it was goofy, but it wasn't bad. Like, it was just kind of...
I'm still thinking about that asterisk.
Yeah,
you know?
and nobody, and, like, Florence Pugh has, like, completely changed the subject when it comes to the asterisk. Everybody has completely just... They keep diverting. So there's something about that asterisk that is going to bring this all to a head.
Hold on. I just came up with an interesting idea. Okay, the other thing is like the marketing campaign for Thunderbolts has literally been, we're on a Wheaties box. That tells you all you need to know.
We are the A24 film of the Marvel Universe. That's literally what they said.
Hang on. The fact, okay, this is a wild theory. I'm going to present it right now, though, because I just thought of this. We're talking about Thunderbolts, right? It's got a wild premise. These characters do not stand a chance against this character.
Yes.
Right? This character, the Sentry, the Void, whatever he is, has been blacked out the entire time. We have not gotten a good look at this character yet.
Yeah, we still have not gotten a good look of Bob.
we have those two things, but we also have the asterisk that is like a placeholder title. That Thunderbolts is a placeholder title for something else.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible that they filmed a fake movie and have presented us fake movie trailers because this is actually a Century movie and the Thunderbolts asterisk is actually going to be replaced in theaters with a legitimate movie for Century that will be titled The Century? Because the character of Sentry was introduced into Marvel Comics as this forgotten hero, right?
Yeah.
Retconned into existence, but everybody forgot about him. So technically he's been there the whole time, right? You see where I'm going with this? Like this movie could be like something very drastic, like different.
Yeah, I mean, it could be.
Is that wild?
I don't.
Is that an out there take? Is that a crazy theory?
I don't think.
I don't know.
I really don't think Marvel is thinking that.
Did they pay these movie stars
that
millions
deeply
of
about?
dollars
Yeah,
for
no,
a fake campaign?
No, I don't think so because I think they knew that people wanted these characters together. To be fair,
you're right. It's not what I'm saying, but
it's
an interesting idea.
It's an interesing idea. Yeah, I do think we are missing. I do think we are missing a huge plot point.
Which makes me think like there's a secret character in here that can actually like Red Hulk or something.
Yeah,
which is
I don't
wild,
know. I don't know if it's Red Hulk, but I agree. I think there is a secret character around here somewhere.
Because like physically, you need somebody to go toe to toe with Sentry.
Yeah, but you
And
don't
literally
have
none of these
anybody.
people can. Yeah,
like
so
you don't have like Thor's definitely not in the world at this time. Like even running through where these characters are at this time, Thor's nowhere to be found. Cap is dead.
What if it's that
Iron Man is
Skrull
dead.
woman with all the superpowers?
I swear to God, if they bring Gaia.
What if it's Gaia? Oh crap!
No, Gaia needs to die no.
Maybe Sentry rips her in half.
Dude, it's gonna be Eternals 2, and I'm
What
just
if
gonna
it's the
lose.
Eternals?
I'm gonna lose my shit.
What if Icarus has returned from the sun?
It's gonna be Eternals 2, and I'm gonna be so pissed that I'm just gonna walk out of the theater.
We'll see. I'm excited for it. We should.
Yeah, yes, I am so down. There's definitely a missing character here, 100%, 100%. But hey, you know what? I'm just happy. Winter Soldier is in another movie. Finally, we're bringing my boy back. Marvel's been doing him dirty for years. Didn't give him the Captain America mantle. I'm still pissed about that.
He didn't even last a whole he didn't even last a whole movie as congressman. Bro washed out of
Congress. No, he's still a congressman. He's just like, hey, I'm gonna take he's like, oh, we ended session for, the summer? Cool. I'm gonna go over here and try to save the world.
You know what too is like we were talking about Daredevil. You reintroduced the concept of Madripoor, right? Which we've actually seen Madripoor.
We saw Madripoor in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I think that would be a really cool setting to have the Thunderbolts do like a mission or something. Like Val sends them on a mission to Madripoor or something.
Bro, it's gonna be all. It's gonna start in New York, and then the Sentry is gonna ship them all off to like middle bumfuck nowhere, like Iowa. In the middle of a cornfield, and the entire battle is going to commence in a cornfield.
What is that? That town in Oklahoma that housed Asgard for a little while.
New Asgard, I get what you're saying.
Like, Asgard lived in Oklahoma. For a time.
It was like Braxton. It was like Braxton, Oklahoma.
Braxton. Yeah.
Damn, the fact that I remembered that is
dude. That's where Sentry ripped in half Ares, the god of war.
That's true.
Literally.
That's true.
Anyways.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm very I'm fascinated by this film. Like I haven't been like actually like there's
does not add up.
Something about these trailers has gotten me hyped, and I'm fascinated by it. Freaking what is it?
Cute.
Fantastic Four is starting to worry me a lot. They
Oh,
showed.
yeah, I totally forgot about Fantastic Four.
They showed. Did you see the 4-second clip that they showed?
No.
So
The
it's
only
literally,
thing-
it's literally just, dude. Hold on. First off, the fact that Marvel decided, hey, you know what? To promote this film, we're gonna release a 4 seconds of a clip. That all it is Johnny saying, hey, you guys are late for dinner.
Oh, I did see the Johnny dinner thing.
That's it. That was all. That was it.
The only other news I heard about Fantastic Four was that Invisible Woman will be like pregnant during the movie, so we're getting the Richards children, like Frank and Valeria.
Well, yeah, we're getting Franklin.
Franklin.
The
Franklin
focus is going to be on Franklin because apparently, the plot point is that the reason Galactus is coming to their Earth is for Franklin.
Mm.
Because Franklin ends
you
up.
think we'll get the kids like in this movie?
No, I think we'll get Franklin. That's it. I don't think we're gonna get kids.
My point
plural.
was just like they're doing the Richards kids, which is kind of interesting.
I only think that we're gonna get Franklin in this. But yeah, no, it's like the problem that I'm having right now is actors are starting to open their mouths and talk to people about like what their character's like, and so you got Quinn saying that, well, Johnny Storm, you know, it's not really attractive being a hothead. Like he's gonna be a pussy. What? That's not Human Torch. A Human Torch is not a femboy. And that's what it sounds like. That's what this actor is saying.
Flamboyant.
Yeah, exactly. Flamboyant, not
That'll be a good
feminine.
title for our episode about Fantastic Four. Flamboy, not femboy.
And then apparently Mrs. Richards is gonna be, or like Sue Storm is gonna be more like, she's gonna have her like identity politics and like fucking
Yikes.
girl boss moments are gonna be in this. And I'm like, okay, for Sue Storm that makes sense, honestly, because she is a superhero, so it makes sense. But femboy,
you know what's interesting? We have not
Johnny
seen
Storm.
we have not seen Reed Richards his abilities. I think that's kind of weird.
I mean,
Don't you?
fair. Dude, I'm so tired of Pascal. It's not even funny at this point.
I am too. I went to the theaters and I watched a movie called The Amateur this weekend. It was okay.
Oh, yeah.
There's literally like 3 movies with Pedro Pascal coming out this year, and not even including Fantastic Four.
Not
He's
even
in
including
a million
just
projects.
not
And
even including
Last
TV
of Us.
shows. He's in Last of Us. Which, oh my
He was
god,
getting
that show is bad.
I haven't watched it yet.
We watched the first my roommate and I watched the first episode of that, and it's, oh god,
Is
it's
it bad?
terrible. It's terrible. Bro, like it's like, I don't know if did you ever like see any of the game like played or anything? Okay.
Hold on. I have the first game. I haven't played it yet.
So the second game I'm talking about. I mean, okay. So the second game is just very like, it's a lot of like lesbian propaganda. Like it really is a lot of lesbian propaganda, and they did not tone that down for this show. Like literally, you have the scene that was in the game. You have the scene where this old dude like comes up to Ellie because she's kissing her best friend and is like, "This is a family show. You need to leave." So it's like, it's making conservatives, it's making like just normal people look bad, and then he calls them the D word, and then they get all pissed off, and then Joel comes to their rescue, and then
really sound like my cup of tea.
Yeah, it's garbage. Also,
the
girl who plays
super controversial.
Well, I like the actress who plays Abby.
There's just a
in the
character
show.
like in the game.
The character is very controversial. The character looks to be a little. They've changed the character from the games to this show, because this show, the character is not some. She doesn't look like Ronda Rousey. Like, she's an actual female. So
Remember the discourse around that.
yeah, so it should be it. Like, I actually like that actress, but the actress who plays Ellie is so bad it's not even funny. And like,
Really?
she's gotten worse. Like, if you saw season 1 of Last of Us, like, she was bad, but she got worse. Like, I don't know how you get worse at acting when you're acting, but she got worse. So
That sucks.
But anyways, I think that's it. I think I need to go to sleep. I'm tired.
I just realized it's like 8:15.
Yeah, it's almost 8:30. But
I like Daredevil. I thought the last 2 episodes were good. There's a lot of
last 2
interesting
episodes
stuff
were good. It was a
there.
mixed bag as a show.
As a
in and of
show,
its
mixed
whole,
bag, but
there was some good.
can't
There
remember
were
exactly.
there were good spots. There were good spots
Yeah.
for sure.
Frank.
Still best
Punisher.
a lot better than most of the Marvel Disney Plus TV shows. So it's still
Agreed.
worth the watch.
Yep.
But yeah, anyways, guys, we will catch you next week. We'll have to figure out what we're going to talk about next week. It'll probably be just news based.
Maybe.
But we'll let you guys know. Until
And/or.
next time. Oh yeah, are you going to watch that? Because you
Better
liked the
believe it.
first season.
Hell
right?
yeah.
Okay.
I freaking
I
love
need to
it.
catch up. I might need to sit down
Um,
and catch up. I'm watching
see.
anime right now, so that's where I got
nice.
I got sucked.
I've
I
been
got sucked
told I
into
need to
anime
watch
again.
Attack on Titan. A buddy of mine.
Yes.
Watch Attack on
Dude,
Titan.
if you want to watch Attack on Titan, we could do a couple episodes where we watch like we go through that cuz it would be really good.
It's on my to-do list.
Fair enough.
I'll get to it.
Yeah, I mean that's
Even just a
literally
couple
that's-
episodes just to see what it is.
Fair enough. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Until next time, guys. We'll talk to you. We'll see you guys later. And have a good week. End
See
the
ya.
stream. I'm so bad.